Father, once again, a few of your humble servants, your throne of grace, to say thank you. We ask this morning, Lord, that you will bless the hands that prepared this food, and that you will bless the souls who are going to receive it. We ask also this morning, Heavenly Father, that you come into the midst of our meeting, and that you guide and lead us in the direction that you would have us to go. We know that your will is the best and the safest place to be, so we want your will done. So lead us and guide us in your direction. That's my prayer this morning in your darling son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Breakfast is served. Oh, Trinity.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company and about what you are serving, and wait till I get my camera ready.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. So, come on. My phone was charging. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And where's Fran?
I think she went back to her office.
Valerie,
We want her to
Ms. Leonard, if anybody else presents, could you have them from that way,
Okay.
right this way?
Oh, but she has to present with her food.
Oh, she has to go, okay, she's gonna come over here by her food?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Bars.
Yes.
Okay, get her with the food. And if you get more than one with the food, other food, that's good too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So my name is Trinissa Williams. I own Trinity's Tasty Pastries, and so this morning, and I actually work out of the building. So our specialty is we make scratch-made biscuits, but you don't have biscuits this morning, so I guess I probably shouldn't have mentioned them. But we do make scratch-made biscuits. We have about 24 different flavors, sweet and savory, and then we pair preserves with each of those flavors. And so today I kept it simple, but we you can find us at Be Love Cafe in North Lawndale, and so we're on their entire menu. So one of the things that we do for them is a croissant breakfast sandwich. So today you have and we try to keep our kitchen as pork-free as possible. So today you have a turkey bacon and cheese croissant, chicken sausage and cheese croissant, which is made actually a local sausage. Parker House Sausages provides those for us. We were able to partner with them for our breakfast sandwiches, and then we have a plant-based or a vegan breakfast croissant, which has like a smoked plant-based meat on it, as well as a cheese spread that we make in-house. And then there's an egg and cheese croissant, and then people tend to love our home fries. So you have our home fried potatoes today. And then finally you have some coffee and hot tea and then water. But we also have some fresh cut fruit, and the fruit, when you taste it, don't be put off by it. We do like a little ginger syrup for it, and then it has a little bit of fresh herbs, which is cilantro. So I hope y'all enjoy everything. And then, some strawberry preserves in case you want it on your sandwich. I did make those. So enjoy your breakfast, and thank you again for inviting me to provide it for you.
Thank you. Your card.
I think I have some. I have some. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And next, we have Mary Fran Riley. She is the mother of the house. and we'll give her some words.
Sure. Welcome, everyone. So glad. Is this the first time you've been in the hatchery for most of us?
Yes.
Yes.
So let me tell you a little bit about the building and who we are and how we came to be here. So I work for Allies for Community Business. Our offices are kind of right behind me in the long building that you walked in. We do small business lending. You may have known of us in the past as Axiom Chicago. We rebranded in 2021. We've been making small business loans for 30 years in Chicago. We make loans to individuals who otherwise aren't ready to get a bank loan, $500 to $100,000. We do not require collateral. We do not look at credit scores. We look at credit behaviors. And so we lend throughout all of Illinois and Indiana. Laser focused on the west side, which is why we're here. And our partner in this building is ICNC, the Industrial Council of Near West Chicago. They're at Damon and Carroll. They run a huge manufacturing incubator there. 20% of our lending portfolio is food and beverage. Banks don't like to lend to coffee shops and restaurants, not telling you anything you guys don't know. And so that is a lot of who we lend to. And ICNC has these incubator spaces that they lease, and they were finding that a lot of folks were coming saying, I need food grade space, my business is growing, I can't get enough hours in a shared kitchen. So in this building, we have a shared kitchen, it has 5 bays, but we also have 54 standalone kitchens that people rent like you rent a house or an apartment for a year, you sign a lease. We discovered, both of us, that there was, anecdotally, there was this gap in the market because as people grew their businesses in a shared kitchen, out of the house first, into the shared kitchen, and then they would come to us looking for more money, thinking that they needed bricks and mortar or they needed a storefront. Truth of the fact is that they didn't have enough money yet to do that. Their business wasn't quite strong enough. And if you build out a kitchen in a storefront that's not there, it's not to your benefit, it's to the landlord's benefit. And it's over $100,000 to build out a kitchen like that. The hoods above the stoves that are required are $20,000 alone. So we realized we need to build a place that's in between shared kitchen and your own storefront bricks and mortar. So we reached out to the city of Chicago. Mayor Rahm Emanuel had just closed 50 schools. They had looked at us to maybe take on one of the schools. Too hard to retrofit a school to 54 kitchens plus walk-in coolers, everything else. So they showed us this vacant land, and we wanted to stay on the west side. And the lovely plaza that you saw out in front as you came in is where the Garfield Park Community Council had kind of put a virtual stake in the ground and put around a lot of wood chips and then set up a neighborhood market. Not a farmer's market, but a neighborhood market. So there's 30-some gardens in this community. You may be part of one or drive by them all the time. Produce from those gardens comes to this plaza every second and fourth Saturday during the summer. We're having a Mother's Day market here inside. Straight Friday? Tomorrow. And we have entrepreneurs from the community who, there'll be produce, they'll be selling plants and things like that, keeping it the neighborhood market, but there will be jewelry, and there will be shea butter, and there will be candles, and lots of entrepreneurs who are bringing their crafts, making them at home, and selling them at little pop-ups will be here. And so we do them during the winter as well, trying to build community here in the building. We also run a culinary training program for youth who are 18 to 24 years old. It's 3 months free training, 2 months of knife and life skills in the kitchen here, 1 month of a paid internship at a high-end Chicago restaurant, and if you succeed, you get hired. And so it's training young people who have a fire in their belly for food to be prep chefs and then to make their way to whatever their dream is, maybe having their own restaurant someday, in a high-end restaurant. We're filling a need also through that program that restaurants have. The front of the backs of the house in most high-end restaurants are not very diverse. And that's the problem that we're trying to solve for, as well as providing free educational training for those who want to, to follow in the culinary path. So this beautiful mural that you're looking at, we designed with Corey Williams and some youth in the neighborhood. Damon Lamar Reed was the designer of it. Corey Williams has 345 Art Gallery down the street and is a Chicago police officer. And it is made to depict our journey, in a way, of building this building, the ups and downs, and also the entrepreneurial journey of, how it's not a straight line. And we call it Robin's Nest. It's in honor of our COO at the time, who helped with all the financing of this $34 million, 67,000 square foot building. And unfortunately, she passed before we opened the building. So her friends and family raised the money to honor her in this way. So that's where you're at. We design this space to have a lot of community meetings here, to be another space in the community to convene. We like to fancy ourselves that I shouldn't say it that way. We're building community inside this building among all of the entrepreneurs because it's a main street. They're learning from each other. We also provide training classes for them. You've got a logo, how's your brand? Starting a food business 101. These classes are available at discounted rates for Westside community members, and we have discounted rates for the shared kitchen hours and renting a kitchen if you live in the 4 communities here on the west side. Anybody have any questions?
What are the 4 communities?
Austin, North Lawndale, Humboldt, and Garfield. But you can come here from any place. You know, the discounts apply there from any part of town. And the same thing with the students. We focus on the west side, but if someone qualifies and comes from the south side, we take the children.
So how did you apply for like the kitchen space?
So the 2 owners, or people who manage, the hatchery manages the building and they manage all of the space. So on their website, there's a place where you can actually also sign up to come get a tour of the building and hear all of the prices and things like that. So, good. Yes, hi.
Well, first of all, thank you for welcoming us Southside.
Well, you know, there's a rift. There's always a south side, west side.
I know. And do you have any cards or flyers available?
Yes, my card is up at the front desk, and there's tons of flyers there.
Thank you.
So grab them as you go. There's flyers about the culinary program I mentioned, flyers about the services that we provide, and lots of other things.
Thank you so much.
Take them all. Take them home so I can restock them on Monday. Yes.
Do you all come out to community events?
We come to community events.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Resource fairs, community events, do you all come out to and share the information?
So I will say that we do as a small business lender. So we'll come out and one of our loan officers, we also have coaches, and all of our services are free also. So we will come to a fair, particularly if it's, business focused or school focused, things like that. So as time allows. Last year we made 881 loans. So
In the 4 communities.
What's that?
In the 4 communities.
No, in Illinois and Indiana.
Oh, in Illinois.
So the 4 communities are what the building serves.
Okay.
That's where you get the discounted rates, but otherwise we serve also all of Chicago. But the 881 loans in Illinois and Indiana, mostly in Illinois. So, and our process is with COVID, we all learned a lot, didn't we?
Still there.
And one thing we learned is that you don't have to go into an office to fill out an application.
Okay.
So we do everything online, and we make our decisions very quickly because we're competing with predatory lenders who are out there online when you're trying to figure out at 1 o'clock in the morning how I'm going to make payroll. Then something pops up and says, I can give you a loan in 48 hours, sign here. And we've got lots of those people coming back to us asking if we can get them out of those deals, and we can't because they've got prepayment penalties. And even if we refinance them, they'd be paying the 86% interest that the loan was charging them, and then our interest on top of it. Yes.
And are loans for all different types of business?
Any kind of business. Any kind of business.
All right, you'll be talking to me soon.
Okay, I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. So grab my card, and if not me, I'm not a loan officer. I've been involved from the very concept of the building, which is why I'm the mother of the house, I guess. But I also am always so happy to have residents come and meet new people. So I hope I can get the list of all the attendees today too, so I can put you on our list. Okay.
I have one last
Sure.
question. So you were saying that there are local gardens and fresh farmers markets around. Do you have that information here? Is that information here in the building, or how do?
So the city of Chicago has a very robust list of all the farmers markets in town. In where do you stay?
I'm in Lawndale.
Okay, so actually there's a new farmers market starting in Lawndale this year.
Yeah.
I think it's
got
at Stone
tomorrow.
Temple, maybe.
Is it on Ogden?
Maybe, I'm not sure. I thought it was Stone Temple that was doing it, the church. But I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But you should look, because that starts, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that will be every Saturday in North Lawndale. Ours is only the second and the fourth Saturday.
Yeah, I have the flyer for that. I think
Okay.
it's somewhere on Ogden.
Okay, yeah, because there is the farm on Ogden there,
Yeah.
where they, do workforce development, and they've got a nice little store there, if you haven't been there, their produce there is wonderful. But also at our farmer's market, we take senior discounts, and the produce is very, very, very affordable. I mean, we're trying to get people to eat healthy. And they also have, sometimes during the summer, a woman who comes, the chef in the hood, and she'll go to the table and she'll pull an eggplant and a green pepper and whatever's out on the table that day, and then she'll make a little meal of it and teach people how to use those particular vegetables if they're not used to it. So I don't want to take up your time. You're here to learn some important things. I'm happy to welcome you and hope you have a great morning. Thank you.
Alrighty, why don't we grab something to eat, and then after that, you'll get instructions as to how to do your. Anybody who's been with me for a minute knows that I like to pre and post test. We need to know whether or not what we're doing is working, right?
I was in Simmons Gallery, but I need to get like that, like do a assessment before and after, so you can see like the benefit of what we just did.
Kim, how have the air was hitting me. At first it felt really good, and then I got cold.
Okay, but you're okay now?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm loving your hair. This is new do for you.
It is a new do. So
Yeah.
and I've had alopecia since I was a kid. And my girlfriend noticed it's so it's good. So I cut it and I wasn't in it for a minute after, but it was so
You ready to find the door?
It's been a nice turnout.
I didn't want to have to do it, but I like this
And
stuff.
then
So
these
every
people
week I
are
had to
going to
do
go back
that
and tell
because
everybody
I
how
tried to
wonderful it was. And the next time it's even going to be more crowded.
It looks good on you.
Oh, no kidding. Oh my gosh, now I really wish I would have combed my hair.
Yes, it smells so good. Have at it. I've not tried it before, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be good. Start streaming. You're streaming. You're going to be streaming live. Oh, right now. Okay. So it's on Keith's Collage.
I'll tag you on Facebook page.
Okay, so it'll come on my Facebook page. Okay. Thank you.
And then, all the English.
And it doesn't matter what education you have.
Thank you.
Does it keep it to age group? Thank you so much. So there's an education process, and they take 16.
No, you have done nothing, nothing, Brian.
That I can write. All right.
But mine is on the order. So my mic can't do it, but so that's. Is he continuing culinary? I'm just gonna put
Papa
make sure I bring to your attention. I've got my computer plugged in.
Oh, you want to bring it to my attention?
Yes, because you're moving around.
No, I'm moving.
Oh, okay. I
Oh,
want
but when I take some pictures, you're right. I will be. I'm doing double duty.
I'm trying to balance.
Triple duty, actually. But yeah, Javon, make sure mindful that he's got plugged. Oh yeah. So just put the chair. Y'all, that's what I'm about to do with this one too. I'm plugging it over here. Did that help? That helps.
Yeah, I just didn't want you.
Right. I got it. Right. I thought I right myself. So you can get that light until you get started. So did you see you tagged on it? You got tagged on the Facebook.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
I love that. Like you see it right on.
Okay.
All right, has everybody signed in?
Like make it better.
Oh, okay.
Make it bigger.
All right, we'll be getting started very soon. While we're getting ready, can we just go around the room and try not to talk with your mouth full, right? And just introduce ourselves. Let us know who you are, your organization, and what community you're from. That way, hopefully, we get to know, who's in the room. And we will start off with our camera person, Keith. Let's start off with you, and then we'll go to Willie.
My name is Keith McDonald, and a number of projects, especially of late, I've helped Dr. Leonard on, and worked with Mr. Lewis, and I'm an independent producer with CAN TV, public access television, for about since '95 until now. And for what it's worth, they just made me vice chair of the board of directors. So,
Congratulations.
thank you.
Awesome. Okay, Willie Cole.
Good morning, I'm Willie Cole. I'm working with nonprofit Utopia, especially on the R3 grant, documenting your success story so that it can be told. I'm also a writer and have worked on the West Side for the Staines Family Foundation formerly, so it's good to be back. Some of you I know and some of you I hope to get to know. And hope you have a great day.
I guess I'm Matt Brandon. I'm from the South Side, mainly in Greater Grand Crossing, Chatham, South Shore, Woodlawn area. I'm with a company called MDC. We do returning citizens employment through Title III. We have contracts with CHA, with Chicago Board of Education, and we teach them carpentry. We have a deal with the International Brotherhood of Carpenters, where they come in, they get apprenticeship wages. As they train, they pay into the Health, Welfare, and Benefits Fund and the union, and they're union carpenters when they finish the program. So we're trying to expand that to get more of our young men and women who are on the street into this program, not just focus on those coming out of incarceration, but those who aren't in incarceration.
Amen.
Good morning, my name is Deborah Thompson. I'm from Englewood, and my organization is called See Seniors on the Move. Basically, we cater to seniors, people with disabilities, and now our new umbrella is assisting families that are dealing with loved ones that have dementia. And that's my story.
Hello, Englewood.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Miriam Allen. I'm from the East Garfield area, specifically United Christ, where in 2025 we'll be celebrating 100 years. And our endeavor, my endeavor, is to open a preschool daycare in that community, specifically the church and just the community in general. So, thank you.
I'm Kim Wright, Young Master Builders in Motion. I'm a Northside resident, but our organization actually, I won't call it a pop-up, but we work all over the city, usually in public libraries and park districts, wherever it's affordable for us to do our outreach. And so glad to be here, because this has been something I've been wanting to do for a long time, so thank you, Valerie.
You're quite welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tawana, but please call me Tip, T-I-P, not Tip. I am working with Mr. Lewis over at YVP, and I'm glad to be here. And yeah, we on the west side.
Hello, my name is Georgetta Davis, and I'm with Eminent, and I used the first part of the name of, I have two businesses, a non-for-profit and a for-profit. But right now, a non-for-profit is working with, in collaboration with a couple of other organizations. We do case management, we do mental health for families and school-aged children, and we are starting a program to do adolescent drug counseling. Also, we are partnering with some of the Chicago Public Schools to bring in mental health training to the teachers so that they can use it in the classroom.
You should go around, get in front of them.
My name is Sharon Hartshorn, and I'm with the South Boston Neighborhood Association, and we are on the west side in the South Boston community. Go west side.
Hello everyone, my name is TJ. I also work, I'm the Deputy Director of YBC Media. YBC Media stands for Youth Violence Prevention Podcast and Media and Employment for Youth. We serve youth between the ages of 14 and 24 in podcast, media, and news-related journalism.
Hey everybody, my name is Alex Kennard. Sound like the individuals, TJ beside me. I actually work with YBC Media as well. North Lawndale News, I'm basically a journalist.
I forgot you all. I do the outreach for YVP. That's what I was supposed to say.
My name is Isaac Lewis. I'm Executive Director of Strategic Human Services, which publishes North Lawndale Community News. And we also have a program called Youth Violence Prevention Media. So when you hear them say YVP Media, that's what it's about. We've been training youth over 2 years in podcasting. And since July of 2023 up until June, now we've got a total of 200 youth. We've got our last group, I think we're 201, 199 youth in the program. And there's a 10-week program, and every 10 weeks we get another group of 50, teaching them about podcasting, about media, different aspects of creating a newspaper, outreach. We've got a graphics team, we've got a social media team, we've got a production team, outreach team. So we're teaching them everything that goes on in the office, so they'll have some experience. And one of the three goals of that is to teach them about journalism and communication, which is combined together in media. The other one is about the health field and Medicare, also medical, and then education, because they don't usually get to see all the jobs except what they see on the street or if they go to a doctor's office or something. So we're investigating all of these fields and finding out all the jobs and creating an education path and a career path so that they can have some guidelines and proceed for the future for success. We're located at 5650 West Madison Street. Even though I live in North Lawndale, the office is in Austin, so that creates a conundrum sometimes.
We're all one West Side.
There you go.
All right, is that everybody?
We can do the tape
Oh,
right
okay.
here.
Davita, you wanna go? Davita.
Oh, you guys are fine.
Okay.
Okay,
Who wants to
so
go?
one second, I was a little nervous, y'all called, y'all, I thought we was gonna move on and I was okay with that. I am Davita Robinson, Program Coordinator for the West Side for NHS Chicago. I am in capacity to people. We create programming for Black homeownership, specifically in our community, literacy programs, and that's my NHS hat. I'm also here in the form of Trinity Consultant with my business partner. We also do project development, project management, where we also teach minority construction businesses and developers how to get access to capital with contracts with the government and other things like that. And we also improve businesses. We help create startups, and we help improve Black-owned businesses, and we are intentionally. We don't only just work for African Americans, but our priority is to get the access to our own community first. That's it.
I'm April Campbell. I'm here in two capacities. I'm an engagement coordinator for NLCC as well as the co-founder of Trinity Consulting with her, and that's all that I have.
So we assume North Lawndale, right?
Yes, North Lawndale is our home domain and stakeholder.
All right. Davita?
I'm Dr. Davita Francois, and I am responsible for Community Assets Builders Association, also known as CABA, an organization that's been around for over 22 years. And we have revamped the organization, so I'm here responsible for the rebirth of CABA, which is a retreat and resource center, and we're located in the Bronzeville community.
Awesome. Is that everybody? Sharon, you went, right? Okay. All right, so that's everybody except me? Okay. All right. My name is Valerie Leonard. I'm the founder.
Nonprofit Utopia. We are an organization that focuses on developing the next generation of nonprofit leaders, especially those who are ethical. And we do that through courses, we do it through an online community, as well as consulting and coaching. We recently finished off a project, R3 Capacity Building and Beyond, where we took people through a series of workshops to show them everything from leadership development, board development, all the way to actually developing an R3 proposal. And R3 is a program that focuses on violence prevention, making sure it helps organizations and communities that are most impacted by symptoms of the war on drugs. So as a part of that program, we decided it might be a little bit helpful. You know, we showed everybody how to do a program that would be eligible for R3. We showed them how to develop leadership skills, but why not do something really, really practical and show you how to do a podcast, whether you actually do one or not, if this is something of interest to you. We did want to show it to you. We think it would be very, very helpful. But before we go into the material, we want to make sure that everybody here is a clean slate. So I'm going to ask Montabian to come here and show you how to do the pre-test. Anybody, like I said, who has worked with me before, they know that whatever I do, I want to make sure that it works. So we do a pre-test to look at people, you know, as a blank slate before they've had any exposure to our material, and then we do the same test afterwards, all right, just to see how much growth. And there's no right or wrong answer. This is how you perceive your own knowledge. So we're not giving people quizzes and tests where you get where you get an 80, 90, or 100. This is to test your own self-reported learning. So I'm going to turn it over to TJ.
All right, so I see that you guys need permission. Give me one moment. One moment. All right, if you guys refresh your links, it should pop up. If you refresh the link, it should pop up. If you don't, if you can scan the QR code. If you can't scan the QR code, I can send it in an email. Okay. This is the QR code. Oh, there we go.
Are you making it okay?
Do everybody have it? Just want to check, just to check. Okay.
Awesome. Are you going to do that right now or after this?
It's going to give it to them as soon as they're done.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So as soon as they're done, the responses will pop up right here.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. We can't get their responses. Probably should. It does come down. TJ, do you think we need to let the garage door go?
It don't matter.
Okay. He said that's okay. All right. Are we almost done?
So we go to that ready.
9:52. Oh, we got 1 hour. Okay, yeah, we got one hour left, yeah. A trick question? You like the trick questions? Of course they're trick questions. This is Chicago. That yeah.
It's going to be loud for a minute, folks.
Okay.
What's your email?
Can you community assets.
AS.
S-E-T-S-2.
Okay, yeah.
Gmail.
Yes, thank you. Is that better for you or not? Okay, all right. Okay, are we almost done, guys? I don't know.
Well, it's not a test at this time to prove your knowledge.
Did you get it?
Prove what you know at this time. So then when you
Try to shoot me an email.
after you
Let's see.
presentation, what you learned
T.
and
Patterson.
seen and heard, you can show the progress.
At
You know, just like
YVPmedia.org.
yeah, just like we did before, you know, in the program.
So don't be upset that you don't know the answer.
That's it right there.
In fact, we like it when you don't know anything.
Now, we can't really answer the last question. Class.
The very last.
Right. Well, this is Chicago, so I'll give you the answer.
Let's see.
Right. Yeah, you can't really rate the class yet because you haven't had anything.
All right, got it.
But that's a required question. Is it a,
Give us no rating, just say 1 through 5, what does that mean?
on the
It
scale
should
of,
be a bubble that you can click. So it should, like, you can
But I
click
don't
the.
know what the one
Yeah,
mean.
that
5 mean bad, or 1 mean bad?
1 is bad, 5 is good.
Oh, okay.
right.
Well,
And-
just coming here this morning and inviting us is good.
All right.
I believe that.
Oh,
That's it.
okay. And you really, haven't been exposed to anything yet. So whatever your answer is, it is. Yeah. Okay. Are we ready? Okay. So everybody has gotten to the end. And for those of you who are watching on a live stream, we just went through a pretest. You may have heard Isaac say that the goal for the pretest is to look at our participants, see what they perceive their own knowledge of podcasting is now. And then after the 3 weeks, we're going to go through this again, and we will see, hopefully people are more comfortable with the information, and we will see a change. And as I said before, we really, really do like it when people come in here with a blank slate and not really know anything. TJ, do you have the clicker? That helps us to understand what the baseline is of knowledge, and then hopefully there's nowhere else to go but up, right? And in our past class, the same people who are assembled, they started off on average, I would say anywhere from 33 points out of 100, going up to close to 90 out of 100. So we do know that our stuff works, right? So we're expecting the same kind of results here. We want to acknowledge who our partners are. Again, this is the R3 Capacity Building and Beyond program. And we got this funding through the state of Illinois. The program is actually funded through DCEO as a result of a direct appropriation that was recommended by Senator Lakesia Collins. Our lead partner for today is Strategic Human Services. As you know, they publish the North Lawndale Community News. After today, God willing, you won't hear anything else from me up here. I'll be, just a student, right? And that's not to belittle anybody here, but you won't see me up here. And then you'll hear from Willie Cole, who is also one of our staff here.
We've got Elevate Services led by Tina Augustus. They are a marketing firm. Got nonprofit Utopia. As I indicated before, we focus on developing leaders for nonprofits. We got Teamwork Englewood. Yeah, Englewood in the house. And then we got Sankofa Safe Child Initiative. They focus on working with youth in North Lawndale. So I want to talk to you just very briefly about using podcasting as a tool. As a small business owner, I got involved in podcasting, I would say, close to about 7 or 8 years ago. And of those 8 years, the first 3 were spent being very, very scared of what to do, right? I got off to a slow start, then built some momentum, and now I'm at a slow point. And for me, I'm using this class as a way to jumpstart our own podcasting. So in case you're wondering, how can I, as a nonprofit, use podcasting? Podcasting can be used to promote your organization's mission. So you can have a number of shows that talk about the work that you do. You can use it to expand your reach beyond your immediate circle, right? If you do this right, you can reach people all around the world. You can use a podcast to engage the community, so you can have a series of questions and answers and chat with people, or even do a call-in show, right, while you're having the discussion. You can use it to shape public opinion on public policy. So if there's a policy that you really, really agree with and you want, your legislators and community to get behind it, you can use your podcast to promote it. If there's something you disagree with, you can still use your podcast to shape public policy against it. You can elevate relevant issues in the community, at the national level, at the state level. You can also use your podcast to show your accomplishments and how you've impacted your local community. And then other people can watch or listen to, and they can get some ideas, and they can copy off what you're doing, and you can network and all that good stuff. And you can use it for training purposes. Your podcast doesn't necessarily have to be a public thing. You can use it to train your employees and your board and all that good stuff. And I'm just sharing here, 2 examples. We've got our nonprofit Utopia podcast. We're on Podbean as well as Blog Talk Radio and iTunes. And then we've got our YouTube page. These have been very, very helpful in us reaching people, that we wouldn't normally talk to. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm a very introverted individual, extremely introverted. But for technology, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't know all of you, because most of you have met me through email, right? The first connection you got from me was through an email. It's not, hi, how are you? I'm Valerie Leonard. So our podcast, as well as our YouTube channel, those were built to further our mission, which is to develop the next generation of ethical nonprofit leaders. Our shows are built around either training people, helping them to start a nonprofit, manage a nonprofit, grow a nonprofit, getting to know people who've been there, done that, learning from their mistakes, people that you probably wouldn't have access to on a normal basis, so they have agreed to share some of their stories. So it's also a way of mentoring. So without further ado, I am going to stop talking, because everybody who knows me know I never met a word I didn't like. Okay, he'll take it off. Oh my goodness, he's going to take off my mic. Okay, I'm being pulled off. He's going to take off my mic, yeah. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to Willie Cole. Willie is a former journalist herself, and she will talk about how we can tell stories to tell stories. I don't want to steal her thunder. Thank you.
All right. I'm just used to moving forward, right?
Huh? Yep. So just this one right there.
I haven't seen this.
You got the email address on the sign-in sheet?
Yes. Thank you.
Is that for everyone?
Yes.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Willie Cole, as she said, and I'm going to talk about creating a podcast to tell a story. And I've learned from being a reporter that the story is what grabs people and leads them in. And sometimes when you're in the midst of doing your work, you don't think about capturing the story. When you're telling somebody what you do, you tend to talk about the legal things. I run this group and I'm in this community. We serve thus and thus so many people and stuff. But there's actually a story that when people are driving in their cars and they're listening to the radio or they're tuning into a channel on YouTube, they want to know what's behind the data that you're presenting. They want to know what about the people that you're serving. And so that's why we're saying be sure that you know your story as you talk about your work. Find your niche. Consider what topic or issue is important to you and why. Why did you start nonprofit Utopia? Because you want nonprofits to be ethical, Why did you start Seniors on the Move? Because that population is important. You don't want that image of seniors to be the ones who are at home, who are sick, who are afraid to go outside. No, a lot of seniors are lively, they're active in the community. So you want to think about why do you want people to know what you do and how you do it. So you want to, again, think about the topics and the issues. Are you covering mental health issues? Are you covering education? Are you covering youth development? Those types of things. You don't want to do a podcast just to do a podcast. Think about what you want to share with your audience, the clients you serve, be they youth, be they seniors. Are they seeking help to solve specific problems? And that's what you're letting them or giving them the avenue, the tools that they need to do that. Your community, are the people in your community seeking news about what's going on in the community or public events outside of the community? What issues that are going on? Is it violence? Is there a lack of child care for the young people? After school programming? Those are kind of things you want to think about that's going on in your communities. And then your funders. Are they seeking information on how their funding is being impacted by the dollars that they give you? So making them aware of how you're telling that story might increase the next time you go back and, with that ask, it's like, oh yeah, I heard about, or someone was telling me about, or I read this, I saw that, I listened to it. So you want to make sure that you share your audience with what's important to them and for the work you do. Determine what you are trying to do and what works best. You're reporting on changing events or news. That means that you're going to have to be out there more active on a daily or weekly basis because the news that you report must be current and up to date. So think about that. How much time is going to be required on your behalf? You're running an organization. Do you have time to do information or put your podcast out on a weekly basis or monthly basis or bi-monthly, those kinds of things? Are you trying to educate and inform them about a particular issue? Are you trying to help them to solve a problem? So you need information that they are missing. You're like, oh, go here, call this person, that kind of stuff. You want to provoke them to action, if that's something you want them to do. If it's voting time, you want them to get out to vote, to tell their neighbors to get out to vote. You want to call and say, there's a lot of trash building up in our alleyways. Get on that, have that come through and pick up the trash more often. Or you want to tell a personal story. If you serve a population that you have successfully worked with to help them to overcome some things, people love that triumph. So you pay attention to those victory opportunities and put that word out. And whenever you do it, whatever you do, you want to be consistent with it. You want to give consideration to time, your listeners' time, as well as your own. Do your listeners have time to sit and watch a YouTube channel, or do they have time to
sit on the radio and listen to a podcast that's 60 minutes long or 30 minutes. And if you can't tell that particular story in 30 minutes time, but maybe it takes 60 minutes or an hour a minute, do you consider breaking it up? You know, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. Frequency. Is it something that you're going to put out daily or weekly or bi-monthly or monthly? Again, that may be determined about how much time you have to put into it, if you're the one who's presenting or if you're going to hire someone else to do that. And you want to make sure that when you choose a daily or weekly or monthly, that you stick to that sequence so that they'll know every Tuesday I can tune in to listen to Valerie, or twice a month I can listen to Isaac or something like that. And then again, always keep in mind what your focus is. If you are working with seniors, you don't want to be creating a podcast that's talking about youth, you know, because folks is like, well, what does she know about youth? Or if you're doing something on health, what are you going to be doing? Why are you doing a podcast on, well, it could be dancing, you know, you weave it in there, seniors dance, but if it's violence or something else, but just consider your focus, your podcast, if it's to be tied to your organizational focus. That's essentially what it means about being consistent. And then you want to ask these key questions. These are the same questions you ask in reporting that I was always asking: who, what, when, where, how, and most important, why. You don't want to just share information just to be sharing it. It has to be for a reason. What difference will it make to your listeners? What difference will it make to your organization? Why are you spending time to doing that? So those are really key questions. Whatever topic you choose, you want to make sure that you can answer that, because that'll give you clarity and more direction as you decide what to do, what to focus on. Do your research and ensure your information is accurate, credible, relevant, and timely. You don't want to go back 2 years to a program that you did unless the impact is still being relevant, and you want to show that. You want to be accurate, put out accurate information. If you're using percentages, data, make sure that it's from a credible source and that it is relevant to what you're talking about. And then plan your format. As you said, all the other things are in sync, and yeah, I want to do this, and it's valuable. Someone's going to benefit by my podcast. Every episode, you want to follow this plan and make sure that you welcome your audience. If you're talking with someone, a guest, welcome them, introduce them, and have them to introduce themselves. And you want to have your talking points determined in advance. Don't wait till 5 a.m. if you're going live at 10 a.m., you know? So plan your talking points. And it's okay, even if you're visual or your audio, to have your talking points in front of you. And sometimes what I do is color code everything. If you say that everything that's yellow or orange, I know that's important. If I'm talking for 30 minutes, I need to get to those first. And then something that's blue or green or not highlighted, you know, okay, I don't need to do this. If it's a series, I can wait till the next round to cover those points. So that's what I mean about that. And then you wrap it up. Summarize, if you can, what they've heard and invite them back to tune in the next time. I think that's it. So I'm wrapping that up with this. Whatever you do from the beginning to end, be creative. Ambiance is very important. I was sharing with Valerie on the ride here that I learned yesterday, a podcast group that I was working with on the south side with the University of Chicago. This organization won not one, but 3 Pulitzer Prizes for the podcast that they created. One looking at black women who go missing and the police don't report it. The other one was telling the story that happened in I want to say maybe 81 or something, the projects before they were torn down on the south side. A 13-year-old went over to Bridgeport to put air in his bike. He was horribly beaten just because he was black. And they told a story of that in part. It was gripping. you know, but they used it as a podcast. And they did it over 6 or 7 series. They didn't try to tell that story in one, but it was like 30-minute episodes, 35-minute episodes. So you got hooked in and you went back to hear to finish it. I listened as I walked when I did my walk. This is the episode I'm listening to today. And sometimes I would find myself stopping. It's like, what? So you know, it can be gripping. That's the part of telling the story, to draw people in. And also, when we were doing those podcasts, they asked us, listen to the surrounding, your neighborhood. It's okay. That sound of the train going by. I listened to a podcast that was made out of New York City about a guy who sold seltzer water. And we heard the rumbling of the trains and the people hollering out to him as he was walking by before he actually started introducing and talking about his story. So that was ambiance, just like, what's going on? He was live, it was real action. So consider that. Even the music that you choose, you know, if you want to undercut what you say at the beginning or a break or at the end, that's okay. And finally and always, be personable. You know, your voice, even if they don't see you, it carries, it can be inviting. You want to draw them in. So practice that. Think, you know, how am I presenting myself? How am I sounding? Test it out. You know, record yourself and like, oh, I don't like that. I have to work on that. But all these tips, I think if you follow them and implement them, you're going to do a great job. And I wish you well and can hardly wait to hear your story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go too far. So I'm not the tech. I'm not the tech guy for the podcast. I'm more of the content and final touches and that type of person. And when I look overall, so we know there's 2 types of podcasts. One is audio, and then the other one is visual, video. And so when you do the video, you want to make sure that sometimes you have like the beginning of it would be the intro, and then the middle is the actual interview, and the end part would be the outro. And you want to make sure that those match. It creates, and you have the intro is like your branding for either your organizations, and since this is for a nonprofit, you want to be very careful in how you proceed with creating that. And we're going to talk about that in some of the other the weeks coming up, and TJ is going to talk about those things too. But I'm not talking much because Willie talked about a lot of the things that I talk about as far as, no, it's still good, as far as the content, and that is important. And content, it could be serious, it could be varied. So like news, it could be on anything. It could be on dance, it could be on seniors, it could be on youth, and it could be changed up. Podcasts just recently, for the video part, just became popular the last couple of years. But before it was all audio. And so you had to be sure that you're talking at a certain speed, that you don't bore your audience, because they'll listen, then they'll go away. And then you got, if your podcast is for a younger audience, you got to make sure that it is quick. So talking with my grandson, TJ, we have 2 different types of philosophies about it. You know, I'm the older set and the more smoother. He's the quick, give it to me now. And I listen. And so because we have a large group of young people and their attention spans are short. So if your podcast is targeted, they'll make sure that it's quick and you get a lot of bang for your buck, or they're going to flip right through you and move on. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to TJ, and I'll talk to you some more when we go into the further weeks about some of the details of making your podcast high quality. So, because you can start a podcast with just your phone.
but that's not going to give you the top quality. And we're going to talk about all those experiences. But no matter where you are, start. And then you can grow as you go along. Thank you. Now it's in the hands of CJ.
All right. Hi, everyone. All right. Give y'all heads up. I walk around a lot just because I used to teach sophomores, so I just got a habit of like walking around the room when I talk. Learning objectives of a podcast. Define the term of podcast and explain how they have changed over time. List out some of the different types of style of podcasts. So you have like comedy podcasts, informational podcasts. You have storytelling podcasts. Fiction podcasts, news podcasts. It's so many different types of podcasts. People make podcasts now about any and everything. Explain some of the benefits of podcasts in comparison to other media. Podcasts into comparison with other media. Podcasts you can listen to anywhere, anytime, at any moment of the day. You can be riding a bike, walking down the street. You can listen on the bus. And with like other videos and stuff, it's going to be loud. That means you got to pay attention to video, plus pay attention to your surroundings. With podcasts, just put a headphone in and you can just listen. All right, analyze podcast. So by analyzing podcasts and the content that you are making, that means making sure you're analyzing who's watching it, like the age range. Also, like what profession is watching it. Is nurses watching this? Is doctors watching this? Is everyday life people watching this, like whatever profession is watching this is stuff like you need to analyze your content, like what time is your audience watching your podcast every day, so you know when is the best time to post. And with that, it really goes by the day. So like, just like with TikTok, they have different posting times. There's like best time to post about whatever you want to post on TikTok. So that means it's just like analyzing your data so you know when is the right time to post for your particular podcast. All right, think, pair, share. I want everyone to talk. And have you listened to podcasts before? And what type of categories of podcasts have you listened to before? So you can talk to people next to you at your table, get to know them, talk about the podcast.
Would it be the same thing as listening to a podcast on Facebook?
Yeah.
I'd be looking at, some people who be on Facebook doing they can coordinate
Sales.
podcasts,
Yeah, I watch podcasts on Facebook, YouTube, Amazon podcasts, Apple podcasts. I listen to them all different types of places.
Okay, so if they have a podcast on Facebook, is that the same thing as Facebook Live, or they just go on Facebook Live so you can see them on their blog?
Yeah. So Facebook Live will be them showing you the broadcast, like them showing you at the moment of them speaking.
Okay.
But like the podcast will 9 out of 10 be on like Spotify podcasts, Apple podcasts, and Amazon podcasts. That's just, but on them platforms, it's just the audio. There's no video. So that's why people like go live and post on YouTube also, because they want people to see the video. They want people to see the video platform and the audio platform. So they share it on like everything. Like I know some podcasts, they share it on Amazon, Apple, and then YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have different ranges of podcasts.
But anything that I want to know, I type in that topic, and whatever comes up, sometimes I can't tell it's a podcast until you say it because it's a video, because it's on YouTube. And my question is what's economical? If I'm going to research it, I might go research it on Facebook. Have we used up too much time? Will we be able to finish?
I talk pretty fast.
I'm just gonna share what we on. So during this course, are we gonna learn about if it's a cost, what type of equipment we should use?
Yeah.
And things of
So
that nature?
so today you guys are learning about pre-production, production, and post-production. Next week we're gonna learn about the equipment that you guys should be using, and different things like that. Yep. I got everything planned out.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't have.
Is it always gonna be here?
The agenda.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know if she sent it out or not. But I can make sure that they get all of y'all on the email. Mm-hmm.
So is it always gonna be here?
Yeah, it's always gonna be here in this room. I can make sure that they send the agenda out. Yeah.
Like now trying to search up that, or read, like, if there's another video, if there's,
Okay, everyone ready? All right. Let's get back. All right. Introduction to podcast. A podcast is a digital audio file that can be downloaded or listened to on a computer, mobile device. One of the purposes of a podcast is to provide listeners with engaging and informative content on a wide range of topics. So, by that, you can download podcasts on Apple devices, Android devices, Google Pixel devices, and many other devices. Only thing you have to do is go to Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. It's a lot of platforms right now today that do like podcasts, because podcasts actually became super popular around COVID. That's when everybody was in the house, didn't know what to do, and they just want to run their mouth. So they got on podcasts, and now podcasts are just like becoming like better than YouTube and TikTok right now, like, because everyone is doing it. All right, types of podcasts. You got interview style podcasts. Interview style podcast is when there's one or two people, maybe more, and they're sitting at a big round table, or they can sit at a rectangle table and they're interviewing each other. Or it could be like two guests, one host, one guest host, and a few other people that's on the thing, or just one host and a guest speaker. You have storytelling and narrative-driven podcasts. That's basically just like telling a story. Also, like telling about a book and things like that. That also goes into like storytelling podcasts. News and current event podcasts. That is something that we do. We also do news and current event podcasts. It's like they talk about what's going on in the world. So they talk about political news, laws, international news. They talk about local news, celebrity drama, and everything like that. You have educational podcasts. Educational podcasts is when teachers get on a podcast and they talk about how to better be a teacher in the classroom, how to deal with children in the classroom. And then you have comedy podcasts. Comedy podcasts is where you would get comedians on a podcast and they're just cracking jokes the whole entire podcast. Some podcasts should have popped up. Give me one second. There they go, right there. All right, this is an interview style podcast.
Right now, where's the outrage on this? If these were 4 college students, there would be outrage.
Well, it doesn't fit the narrative that people need to keep this country separated. They want us separated. They want us at each other's throats, so we're not addressing the real problems. I'll put my tinfoil hat on right now. I mean, we love that. It's the truth, though. They want us at each other's throats. They want us racially divided, religiously divided, sexually divided. They want to put as many barriers in between us as they can, because once everybody turns and looks at the real problem, it's over for them.
Yeah, the culture is now the cops are the bad guys. They're not stormtroopers of the government.
Right.
The cops are enforcers of the social contract, right? When I'm sworn in, that's the people saying we entrust you to protect us and to enforce laws that we all agree on as a society. I uphold the Constitution and the public.
So two of these men in this podcast is actually ex-police officers, and they're talking about like when they become police officers, what they are sworn in to do. And they were also talking about like what's the reality of like if they wasn't police officers, and if us as everyday people like really understand what the real jobs of police officers is, we would make the whole government like shut down, basically. This is Storytelling Podcast. It's actually a show on Hulu called The Murderers in the Building. It's becoming a popular show.
Did you know in Only Murders in the Building, it wasn't easy to shoot in the busy streets of New York City? While even walking in the Big Apple can be a challenge, the directors of the show found it particularly difficult to film Selena Gomez's outdoor scenes, as the incredibly popular star would attract fans everywhere.
So this is a podcaster. He's talking about he's talking about the film and storytelling it, how like they filmed it and why it was like such a big deal of them filming it. Because one, Selena Gomez is a famous celebrity, and when people see her, they gather all around.
No, hold on, shake my hand. No, you did it. No, shake my hand. No, like,
This is Comedy Podcast.
Hi, John. Or no, who are you? We know it. We're meeting each other for the first time. What's your name, sir? My name is John. Hi, my name is Chris. Hi, Chris. Nice to meet you. Shake my hand. What's wrong with you? I don't know, this freaking weirdo. How do you shake hands? There's guidelines to handshake. You don't do this. You look like you're scared. I'm stuck with my mic. Hi, John. My name's Chris. Nice to meet you. What's up, man? Well, why is you got a little over there? You have a visceral reaction. Yeah, you're like, it's true. Yeah, it's like, get it off my hand. Get that cowardness off me. I don't get it. That is legitimately just a weak guy. Yeah. And it's disgusting. Okay, so
They weren't really that funny. They weren't really that funny.
Did you know in Only Murders in the Building, it wasn't easy to shoot in the busy... Did you know in Only Murder...
All right, pre-production, production, and post-production. Pre-production, I'm going to teach you about these three things. These three things is very important when you're shooting podcasts, films, YouTube videos, TikTok, everything. You must understand pre-production, production, and post-production. All right, introduction, brief overview of the 3 stages of filmmaking, importance of each stage in the filmmaking process. Pre-production. What is pre-production? Pre-production is the initial phase of filmmaking, where the planning and preparation for the project take place before the actual filming begins. So, pre-production is everything you need to do before you start shooting. It's the planning, it's the seeing who's going to be the guest, the scheduling, the storyboard, if you need a storyboard, the presentation, if you got to come up with a presentation form to show on like your channel, and also make sure all the equipment is set up. So by the time production comes, you don't have to worry about setting up, coming up with questions and everything like that, because it's going to take time. And when people come in to shoot podcasts, they on literally a time limit. So like you may get somebody to come in for like 30 minutes, and then if you doing everything that you're supposed to do for pre-production and production, you going into somebody else's time, and then time is money. All right, structure feature, script writing. Script writing is where the screenplay or script is developed. So some podcasts have scripts, some don't have scripts. So if you're doing like interview style podcasts, so that is where you come up with script questions. But if you're very good with questions, you maybe don't need script questions. But it's good to do script questions because you do a background research on someone. You see like what's their everyday like. You see what they're doing, where they work at, and different things like that. So it helps you come up with the questions that you need to ask them. Then we have storyboard. Storyboard is exactly where you create how you're going to ask the questions in order and different things like that. You can also make it visualize with where should your ads pop up in your video, or where should the slides pop up in the video also. Next, we have casting. Casting, you have a question?
Yeah, for script writing. Do they generally, you say they get their questions together ahead of time, do they generally present those questions ahead of time so the person could
See the questions?
relate their answers?
So this is what I teach our kids. We come up with 50 questions, and when we come up with those 50 questions, we send the entire 50 questions to the person we're interviewing so they can have a range of what we're gonna ask. But once they see them 50 questions and like look over them and see what they're gonna ask, then that's when I help them prepare the main 15 questions that they're gonna ask. Because I think you should never tell a person like the exact question that you're going to ask. You should prepare them for a group of questions. So when they get there, you can get them off guard about what you're going to ask. Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Why do you want to get them off guard? You have a particular
Range.
Yeah,
I would say off guard would be the wrong word. You want to get a natural response from the question.
Okay.
Instead of a prepared response. And so you go back to what Willie talked about, the who, what, when, where,
Why,
and
how.
And then you base all your subsequent questions or ad-lib questions based on those responses. Because sometimes people might dodge a question or might not be very clear. So then you're, what do you mean? So they can explain it in a different way.
And certain people like doing interview style podcasts, if it's a question that they don't want to answer, their first response is going to be no comment. Or they're going to try to keep avoiding it the best way they can because they don't want to comment on it. Yes?
I would also, it's important to distinguish, Isaac runs a newspaper, journalism, TJ, the journalists are thinking, where you want to catch a person off, not off guard, but you want an honest, unexpected answer. But for the people in this room, that's not your intention, as to be an investigative reporter, right?
Yeah.
You want to be more sober and tell your story. So it's perfectly fine to, I think, to let them know this is a range, as they say, of questions. They don't know which one, but they get a mindset, I need to have data on this. How many people did we serve? What story can I tell about how this mother came in and said what a difference we made in a child's life, those kind of things. It helps to get them to think ahead, not that you're going to try to put something on them and like, I caught you, not like that. But they're journalists, so they're coming at it from that perspective, and they're training journalists.
Yeah.
When you do that pre-script and question and answer thing, do they come back and say, well, we're not answering this?
Yeah, some people may say that like, I don't want this question, make sure that this one don't get answered and things like that. So you could be prepared for people to say like, I don't want to answer this particular question or like a range of questions like, don't answer this. Yes?
And I think one of those questions that people might want to elude are questions that something that horrible happened to them and they don't want to relive it.
Right.
So it's not always about somebody trying to hide something that they should talk about. Sometimes it's something legit that they really just don't want to talk about how they got beat up by 7 people. 12 o'clock at night on the corner waiting for a bus. They don't want to relive it. So they might say, talk to me about, the philanthropist things that I do, philanthropic things that I do, but not about that particular incident. I'm not really healed from that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
And when, for me, because I help work on I guess you can call it a monthly podcast. And what they do is they send out the questions that they're gonna ask the people. And I am telling y'all, every person get up there, and it literally sounds like that they're reading from a script. And it takes away the genuineness of that podcast, that interview, or whatever it is that you're doing. So I would not suggest, like TJ say, sending them a broad of questions of what will be asked so they can kind of have an idea, but not letting them know the exact questions that will be asked. Like you will get a more authentic reaction and conversation.
Yep, for sure.
I think another that I'm reminded of is if you're talking with an elected official and they are, or some government employee, they may be with the park district, but you're asking them about streets and sand, or you're asking about and you may not know it in advance. So you might say, here's a list of a range of things, and they may say, well, my jurisdiction, my expertise is with the park district, not with streets and sand.
Yeah, that's why background research is very important, because you don't want to ask nobody. You don't want a police officer to come and then you ask them, how do I save a life? Police officers don't know how to save lives. That's up to an EMT, a doctor, or a nurse. They don't get trained on how to save a life. Next, we have casting. Who is best fit to host the podcast? So host is very important because you don't want a host to get up there and they know nothing about what the interview is about. So I had messed up one time when I had the kids interview a baseball coach. I had a baseball player student interview him, and I had a girl also do the interview, and she was quiet throughout the whole interview. And it's because she didn't know anything about baseball. She didn't know what to ask, or she had questions in front of her because our journalists, so we have different departments. We have a journalist department. They actually is the ones that do all the background research, the question making, the scripts, and different things like that. She had the questions in front of her, but she didn't feel comfortable because she didn't know anything about baseball and she didn't like sports. But I tried to get her out her comfort zone to like ask questions to become more open, but it didn't work out. Location scouting. Location scouting is another thing because you can shoot podcasts indoors in a studio, in the front room, in your bedroom, in the bed. I've seen podcasts get shot everywhere. Outside of here, I've seen people do podcasts on a train, but that's in New York only. And then another location, should we shoot at a coffee spot? Should we shoot at Starbucks? Should we shoot at the museum, the park, the beach, and different things like that? Just like preparing where the location is. And then you have securing equipment. Securing equipment is making sure you have all of your equipment before you leave if you're going outdoors or to another location. Even indoors, you should make sure you have all of your equipment, batteries, computers, audio, camera, lights. And all of that stuff is important because if you don't have it, now you're in trouble because something's going to go wrong during the podcast. All right, creating ads for an upcoming episode. Letting people know that a podcast episode is finna drop is very important. That's why we create ads every time we shoot an episode. So therefore, when we create that ad and post it on social media, people be like, okay, they're dropping a video Friday, or they're dropping a video Sunday at this time. Let me be prepared. Let me turn on my post notifications so I know when they post the video. You have subheadings, which is smaller headings to help organize the sections of the article or the ad. You have tear out sections and large quotes from the podcast or article that are attention grabbers. Images and graphics can include photography, illustration, maps, or diagrams. So basically, I would say post who is doing the interview in the guest host. So when they get there, make sure you take a picture of you, make sure you take a picture of them, both of y'all sitting at the table, or take a group picture together if y'all sitting or standing to post on the ad also. Language features. Creative and engaging use of language, including radical disruptive language, and more. So basically, make sure that the language that's on the ad is very understanding to people, because some people, you may put certain words and stuff that people won't understand. Make sure that you put in stuff that people understand so they can make sure that they're reading the right things. And then font styles. Font styles is important because you don't want nothing too small or too medium, especially if you're looking for a different age group. Like youth like things to be bold, outstanding. They want to see it. So we use like bold things and colorful things when we're trying to get like youth attention. Other than that, we probably just create like a simple ad if it's like for other age groups.
I ran into it where the font was small, and the seniors called me, said, "Look, we use some bigger print. The phone book easily got smaller. So could you make it a little bit bigger for us?"
Yeah.
I had to make it bigger because seniors with the glass. I'm a senior. So.
Yeah, and then you don't want nobody on the ad, especially on the phone, and then they got to over zoom in on the phone just to see what the words say. It's gonna make them say, "Yeah, I ain't even gonna watch it." All right, news sites, research tags, news sites, search engine trends, social media, social justice issues, and areas of personal interest. This is where the research come in for someone. So if we're researching, I'm just going to use my granddad for example. If we're searching Isaac, you can literally go on Google now and type in someone's name and all of their information will pop up. Especially if they have been around in the community or have been doing a lot of things on social media, If you type in their name will pop up, and everything they have done will pop up. They even have some apps where it will literally do a background research for you, and it will come up with like different things like their age, where they're from, and different things like that also. Next, we have purpose and audience. Purpose of a podcast is to persuade, advise, inform, comment, analyze, protest, parody, reflect, imagine, and entertain. So this is the purpose of a podcast. Also, some of these are different types of podcasts that people have also. Like, I watch podcasts that persuade people to start businesses and different things like that. I watch a podcast that inform people on like LLCs, S Corp, C Corps, and a different type of business LLCs and things you can get. They have a podcast about comment. So comment podcast is basically where someone will talk and just read like Black Twitter and just like people bashing people and stuff like that. So that will be like comment Twitter. You got protest Twitter where they'll talk about different protests and stuff that's going on also. All right, audience. Audience refers to the group of readers that the writer is addressing. So this is the people that you're looking for, or the people that you're trying to get to watch your podcast. Gender. What gender is you looking for? Is you looking for male, female, or all genders? Age group 0 to 15, 16 to 25, 26 to 45, 46 to 60, and 60 and older. That's age group. Relationships. Are you looking for single people, couple people, married people? Income level. Are you looking for low income level, medium income level, or high income level? Then what hobbies are these people doing? So are they gardening, playing basketball, or crafts? And geography, town, city, country, climate, employment. Is they a businessman, a tradesman, a nurse, and wants his need? Do they want to be healthy? Do they want to be happy? Or do they want to be loved? Or do they want to be successful? So you have a therapy, I forgot his name. He's a therapist that has his own podcast, and he literally handles relationships. And he say that people listen to his podcast that are married and in couples to like better their relationships and different things like that. Production, recording. Record episodes according to the planned schedule. So I think, to me, the best way to do podcasts or videos, period, are to shoot all of your videos, and then once you have all your videos shot, edited, make sure audio is correct, and then you start posting every Sunday and stuff like that. Because I think maybe posting the video and then you don't have nobody to interview that next week, now you're got your audience off track on like when that you're posting. Because now you have to hurry up and try to find somebody to interview for somebody to come on the show to hurry up and shoot a video. So I think the best thing is to shoot all of your videos, edit them, and then schedule them for every Sunday or every Friday, every Monday. So therefore, all your videos are already shot. Now you have a break together to start working on season 2, season 3, to plan, edit, see who's going to be the guest, see what you want it to be about, and different things like that. All right, maintain, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You good, go. What's your question?
I was going to say, after you do all of that, let's say you got 8 podcasts, can you automatically schedule to play, or do you have to literally physically go in there and start it up?
I think it depends on which software, yeah, which software. Some softwares, they want you to like literally press publish as soon as you upload, but some softwares allow you to schedule when each one is going to get posted. It really just depends on the software. Yes?
Do you have a suggestion of where you can like put content that you batch? Like, for example, if you wanted to keep a routine of when you post,
Mm-hmm.
if you batch interviews, like do you have some sort of suggested model of like where to put it? Like, is it just like on an external hard drive?
Yeah, I will say put it on a hard drive.
Okay.
Make a folder, put all of them in that folder, label that folder season 1, then season 2, make that folder, make it season 2, and just, yeah, a server is another good thing. Especially like if you're like in a commercial building and you have you know, commercial building have like big servers, just upload it to the server every time. Even with the video, when you're done shooting the video, upload it to the file so you can have that original and that edited version. So in case you end up losing the edited version, you can just go to the server and be like, okay, I got my original. I can just re-edit that video.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
When will we go into the details about the platforms and the software and things?
We too. All right. Encourage natural conversation engagement during recordings and editing. Edit recorded audio to remove mistakes, pauses, or irrelevant content. You know, sometimes when people on podcasts, they may take a pause to have a conversation just about what they had. Now that conversation took like 30 minutes, so they want to cut that out to make sure it's only getting like the question forms of it. Enhance audio quality. You can enhance audio by doing noise reduction, noise cancellation, and different things like that. That's basically helping you, because sometimes you have background noise. So say if we was doing podcasting here and a train riding past, we can go into the editing software and press noise cancellation so it cancel out the train. Add music, sound effects, transitions as needed to enhance the listening experience. So we use music for the intro and outro. Some people do play music throughout their entire podcast and it just be on low. It really doesn't matter. Sound effects. So sound effects would be like clapping, cheers, and different things like that. If you want to add it, it's not, you don't have to add it. And transitions. Transitions would be like if you have someone come on and you have 3 topics to talk about. Put transitions between those 3 topics so people know which topic you're on, and don't let it just flow out. Let people know that you're transitioning to another topic. All right, post-production. Post-production, review and revision. View and listen to the edited episodes and ensure quality and coherence. By that, once you're done editing, make sure that you're listening to your own podcast. I know people don't like listening to their own voice and listen to podcasts, because I'm the same way when I talk. I don't like to go rewatch a video and be like, oh, my voice sounds like this, and my voice sounds like that. Everybody does that, but you will have to do it to make sure your voice sound correctly with the video, because sometimes people record with a camera and then they have mics in front of them. And so what you'll have to do is match the audio from the camera and the audio from the mic together. So, and that takes a little time. So you will have to listen to the voice to make sure it matches together, so it won't be like lagging with the lips. Make any necessary revisions and adjustments based on feedback and preferences. Media data and branding. Write episode titles, descriptions, tags for SEO opposition. So episode titles is important, descriptions is important, and tags is important. Design podcast artwork and branding elements for consistency across platforms. You can use the same ad format. You can also use the same text and different things like that. Also, add your logo to your flyer so people know that's your brand. And when you're also creating your ad, make sure it's in the color that your brand is, so people know that, like, if they see brown and white, this is this brand, and different things like that. What is SEO? SEO is when, I forgot what it stands for. There it goes. It's basically, you put it inside of like your website's podcast, YouTube videos. So when you put it on a search engine like Google, Yahoo, Binge, and other search engines, your video will pop up when people search that particular thing up. All right, distribution. Upload episodes to podcast hosting platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, Podbean, or YouTube. YouTube is more used for the video outlet of a podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean is used for the audio of a podcast. Submit your podcast to directories and platforms to expand its reach. Many people listen to podcasts, but everybody uses different type of apps for podcasts. Everybody don't have like 5 different apps of podcasts to listen to. Like, people want to go to like 1 or 2 apps.
So directory platforms.
Yeah, so these will be the platforms right here. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. I'm going to show you guys some more platforms next week. Sorry.
and you want to make those simple mistakes, what advice would you give folks as far as like platform picking? Would you tell them to go to the best brand at first, or would you tell them to go to
I would say start out small. It's better. So she basically wants to know, like, if you're a smaller podcast, what's the best podcast platform to upload to? If you're just beginning out, to make mistakes. So I would say the best, if you're just starting off and a beginner, is YouTube. YouTube is easy to upload to. Anybody can upload to YouTube. Only thing you have to do is make an account. You can upload to YouTube. Apple Podcasts, I think it's like, they charge like $12 a month to use their platform. Or it's maybe like $100 a year, something like that. I don't know like the exact price. And I think Spotify and Podbean also charge to use their platform yearly or monthly. Yes.
So with the question being, were you done? Did you have a follow-up?
You got to follow up?
Give me 1 second. So my question is like, where do you recommend we go to make the most mistakes first? Like,
As a beginner.
as a beginner, like, cause that's what we're gonna be like, our shit, I wanna be the worst. So
Yeah.
if I wanna be on the least, I want a platform, but I don't want it to be the major one I'm first starting out.
Just YouTube. Look, with YouTube, let me tell you about YouTube. YouTube, when you post, you don't always get the views that you want. So, especially if you're small, YouTube is not pushing you to them trending, or that as soon as somebody type in your name, you're popping up. They're still going to have you at the bottom of the list, and people going to have to really type in your entire episode name or your entire name just for you to pop up. So YouTube is the best platform if you're just starting out.
YouTube also has a private distribution. And
Yeah.
public. So you can
And then they also have listed, so that means only the people that you send a link to can only watch that podcast.
That's key for me, okay?
Yeah.
So they can give you your critique.
I think first of all, I just wanted to say, when people are starting out, I suggest that you get your own, you got a logo, make sure you identify you brand it. He talked about this a moment ago. But that also includes, if you know somebody who does music, have them do your opening and your closing music for you. Because it's original. When you hear do-do-do-do for the older folks, do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do, you know it's Andy Mayberry coming on. So if you was washing dishes, you leave the dishes to go watch television because you hear it.
Yeah.
So for those who know, so my point is, make sure you, if you can, get somebody to make your opening and closing music for you. But also for anybody, don't be so confident that you can use established music artists that have copyright.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, like I know people like to listen to like top artists.
Prince.
They like to take their instrumental or different things like that. You can only use their instrumental in the beginning for your intro or outro for 10 seconds.
Right.
Anything after 10 seconds, your video will get copyrighted and taken down.
And then too many of those, you won't have.
Yeah, too many. YouTube is. YouTube will literally give you like 3, maybe more strikes depending on who viewed it and like doing it. And once you did that, they'll take your video down. And besides your video, they'll delete your entire channel. And they would not let you make another YouTube channel after that.
But there are sources though you can access free
music.
Yeah, YouTube actually allows you to get free instrumental music and different things like that. Yeah, non-copyrighted music.
So even with instrumental, it comes some of the copyright.
Yeah, instrumental is also copyrighted because Capitol Records, Unlimited Music, and like different things like that, they own the instrumental, and they own the song also. So they want all of their money.
So the only thing is with YouTube, they have this area where they say songs that sound like Nicki Minaj, or songs that sound like, and those are non-copyright. You can use those 30 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever. But as long as and so they have a list of songs that are non-copyrighted. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and even when you post your podcast on Facebook, Facebook also like tell you that you copyrighted too. So best thing with Facebook when you're posting your podcast, you can put in the little stars. I do not own copyrights to this music, and Facebook will still let it get posted. But if you don't put I do not own copyrights to this music, Facebook will take it down also, or like they will flag you. Yes, it's acceptable to say that on platforms, but not on YouTube. YouTube literally only wants you to use the 10 seconds and boom. But like Instagram, and Facebook lets you use it. Even when you're doing Instagram and Facebook Live and you got music playing in the background, I don't know how the system works, but when you play music in the background and they know that it's not like your song, they will take your entire live down and block you from going live again. Like right now, I went live like 3 months ago and I had music playing in the background when I was on campus, and they literally blocked me for live and I can't go live until July.
So the other thing with music is be careful. You don't want to play blurred lines for a Christian show or for an elected official. If you know about blurred lines with Justin Timberlake? Right. Blurred lines. Robin Thicke. I'm sorry. Right. So you don't want to use certain songs when the message is something completely opposite, if you know what I mean.
And when you're going into these higher level advanced parts of podcasting, it's good to get some consultants.
Yeah.
And we can help with that. He's also done some stuff on that. We had one of the ladies, we started her podcast show this week with Shabbat, and we're going to show a little bit of that. But she did it with us the first time, and it came out perfect. Then she had somebody else do it. Second time, it was poor quality. You couldn't hear the sound. So, and we didn't have the time because we were working with some other stuff. So she gave it to Keith, and he went and edited and improved the quality. We also had to send our intro and our outro that we had created. So we can help with those types of things. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. When you're working with companies and they make something for you, they technically have copyrights to that. So if
They technically have
copyrights to that, whatever they make. So if a company make your outro and you don't let people know that they made the outro for you, or you try to go use it elsewhere, they can technically say like, that's my outro. That's yeah.
They purchasing it.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's not like purchased, yeah.
But some people don't know they need to purchase it. Some people just
Right,
go.
there are these
But you need to purchase it.
contractual
Yeah.
agreements, right, owns it and,
Right.
And the people who you individually, the artists, should also copyright their stuff that they create for you so that it's theirs.
Yeah. Next, we have promotion. Share episodes on social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Well, X. It's not called Twitter anymore. X. YouTube. You can share YouTube Shorts. TikTok. You have Instagram Reels now, which is becoming very popular than TikTok also. It's email newsletters. If you have an email platform where you can send like monthly emails out or weekly emails out, also use that, because everybody don't watch social media and be on social media all day. So email newsletters would be a good thing to use also. Engage with listeners through comments, messages, and dedicated community spaces. So when you're posting and people like messaging and stuff, take time to go through your comments, read through your comments. Sometimes you may get negative comments. I say just delete them or just hide them. Don't read them, because sometimes they can be super negative. So I know one YouTuber that I used to watch. She had messages where they was like saying you need to kill yourself and different things like that. So she actually deleted her whole channel and stopped being on like social media for a long time. But now she's just coming back. Yes.
I want to say that for so long, my lifetime, we didn't have so much access to media. So people engage when they see stuff on media. They take it very strongly. So you have a powerful voice when you do media. You have to be. I think I have to be mindful on what I put out on media, because there are people younger folks who are gullible, for lack of a better word, or they're not strong-minded, even adults. And so if you put out, I call it stupid stuff. You can get a whole lot of clinical names for it.
It's susceptible to being influenced very easily.
You're influencing people, so you have to be mindful that you don't influence people to go out and do stupid stuff. And suicidal is one of them, or go shoot a cop, all that kind of stuff. You have to be mindful that if you you're responsible for what you put out.
Yeah.
And sometimes how people receive it, but understand people will receive it, and it may not be a positive way. So you have the consciousness to deal with it.
And talking about people on your podcast, be mindful that Some people fan base is way bigger than yours, and they hear you talk about them. Their fan base will go straight to attack mode and start telling you to do all different type of things. Like you have Nicki Minaj fans, which is called the Barbs. You have Beyonce fans, which is Beehive. You have the Swifties, and you say anything about them top 3 females, just know they fan base is in full attack mode, especially the Swifties and Beehive.
One of the most famous ones during the pandemic was when Trump said, "Oh, you probably drink bleach."
Oh yeah, see that's what I'm talking about. Right. Because he was a president, they felt that he knew something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Don't talk about Trump on TikTok.
Right.
Them people go crazy.
The thing is, promotional pieces. So I think it's important that you don't fool yourself and just doing one-way communication. Because if you're just talking to people and you don't give them an avenue to give you feedback, you may say I have a cure for cancer, but if you don't you got to promote yourself. If you don't tell about that you're out there, then that's one thing. But you also have to give people a way to give you feedback. If you don't know if you're making your point, getting your point across or not. And so when you get feedback from it, you know whether or not you made your point, if you need to retry making your point, or you need to tailor it a different way on how you present your point. Because if you're putting stuff out there and nobody's getting it, then you're not, you're just spinning your wheels.
Okay, one moment, time check. We said that we will be here from 9 until 11.
Right.
We're running over now.
Okay, I can run through the lab.
Is everybody okay with him finishing? It's just a few more slides.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, alrighty.
All right, next. These are some examples of brands of how we let people know that we got podcasts. This is one way. This is just like a full flyer that can get posted on our website and our Instagram and things like that. So YVP Media Podcast, brand new episode featuring Trail, Shamira, Maestro, YVP Media News, and then it also lists out what they'll be talking about. Immigration, challenges, and Beyonce celebration. They made this episode when Beyonce was on tour for the Renaissance tour. And then they talked about the immigration in Chicago, the current events in Chicago, the challenges that was going on. Then they had a challenge inside of the podcast, and then they talked about Beyonce and her big award that she got during Renaissance. This is another smaller ad, real simple. It just says, stay tuned to our podcast talk show every Friday. I prefer something like this. The kids like either way though. Sometimes they want to do something smaller and not put their faces out there. And some kids say, I want to put my face on the flyer and different things like that. So it just depends. And I think that's it. Any questions? Yeah. I'm going to let you guys know week 2, that is where we're going to get into equipment learning, interview learning, and then we're also going to practice mock interviews with everyone in the room.
Yay.
Alrighty. Can we get a group picture before everybody leaves?
We're also going to be bringing the
Not on our
equipment
podcast.
from the simple all the way to the advanced.
Yeah, I'm going to introduce one of our youth from our program. Her name is Alicia. She handled all of our social media platforms for us.
She's pretending like she's shy, right?
Oh, she's shy for real.
Is this the one that's on the
Shavar, just bring it as is. I got to turn it back on when you get it here.
She's scared to walk up because she have on a crop top, and I complain to them about not wearing crop tops.
Yes, the year to wear crop tops now. I'm glad modesty is still alive.
So we take a group shot?
We're going to take a group shot, but I'd like to hear from her.
Oh.
Tell us your name, rank, and serial number. And this is part of your job. You have to always be ready.
Name, age, school, and what you do with the podcast.
My name is Alicia. I go to Preston King, and I'm 16. At YVP Media, I'm pretty much in the social media base, and I post flyers and what we're doing for the day, the episodes.
So what social media?
like Instagram, and we be trying to make like fun TikToks to post like on the page.
See, it's actually the social media team lead for us.
So how do we get in touch with,
Team lead?
for social media?
What's the social media email? Is it? I think it's info@yvpmedia.org.
Wait a minute.
info@yvpmedia.org. pmedia.org. Yep.
And speaking of, so do you guys do everything just for young people, or do you do it for other organizations?
So we do it for any organization. If you want to shoot, you can book. Yeah, you can shoot. You can just go on our website, book us, and then we'll have the studio prepared for you with engineers, cameramen, and editors.
Yeah.
So we are actually working on prices right now. You can speak with the director.
Okay.
'Cause I don't
And
know.
we're nonprofit, so we try to help the community. Not trying to make be rich.
So I have a question. I heard this young man back here say he works for Can TV, and I know Can TV also has a training as well. Is this like the same?
It's a little different.
Okay. No, because I'm signed to do a training.
.org.
That's a great place to go. And he's the vice principal.
Yeah.
He's on the board.
So let me.
On the 24th.
So learn what you can in both of them. Don't. I'm just saying. But if you just if you've already engaged with Can TV, get what Can TV has to offer, and if at some point you or your not-for-profit like to engage Isaac and his team, then because what I learned at Can TV, you have so many days, so many weeks, which is good, and you get to collaborate with your fellow students in the class, which is good, because then you build relationships, and they can help you on your project, you help them on theirs. But not everything is taught, especially with something coming out new tomorrow or the next day. So to stay abreast, just stay like people who astronauts. I'm sorry, they have to get recertified. Doctors have to go through recertification every so often. So it's just like getting a recertification, to get what you can there. But then maybe 6 months, a year, whatever later, engage Lewis, Isaac. I'm sorry, and his.
Okay, I got something else. If you guys actually go on Instagram, I think that's the only platform that she posted on. If you go on Instagram and go to NLCN YVP_media12, every Monday we have something called Media Monday where we post podcast tips and podcast equipment that you should. NLCN YVP_media12.
And if I could,
please follow. Please follow.
That right there, he's my friend.
All right,
but I do want to say this part though. If you go through the Can TV one, they will put your stuff on television, on cable.
Yeah, they got a different focus with their platform is for television.
But they show you how to do a podcast.
Right, they do.
And you right.
That we said she'll send the information to us.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
All right, can we all come to the front and pose? Like a pose. We take profiles. All right. Yes.
Well, since I'm the tallest, I probably should.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, right.
So,
I mean, I'm standing in the back today.
Everybody else get to the halfway.
You might have to run me to that video. I'm on the little tall side.
Please, can you come arrange us?
Okay, you see right there, right in front, right there where you stand.
Yeah, you sure? You gotta.
We need 2 rows.
Okay.
Should we have people sit down?
So let me say, one person who's.
Can we please spotlight the young lady though? Her, can she be in the front? Yeah.
So bring some chairs to the plate. So I don't know if you want to have a seat. So the same amount of people on this side, and if you could give me a shoulder.
Whose name?
Yeah, like that.
Let us know we need to move.
Okay, I'm good. Once I understand
I
what's
think
going on.
she's the shortest. Maybe she should have a seat. The young lady behind
Let's just
you.
be side by side. Let me pull them up.
I'm only off 2 more times like before I have a seat. You want to sit down? You want to sit down? Don't worry, watch this. Let me buy you the Valerie. You gonna sit there? Or? Yeah.
Okay, Kim. All right.
You got one more seat?
see, baby.
Why are you in the back? That's what I asked.
It's about the guests.
Okay, excuse me, I need some people over here, like 3 people over this, come over on this side. Please, one.
There's a little one hiding in the back.
One.
I'll come over there.
Okay, wait, no, you're right in the middle, you good,
Then
you
you
good. I
have
can't
to
see
go
you.
down
Excuse me, excuse me. So I can't see you, so how about you come on the end?
Oh, okay.
Please. Okay, now, on the end, right here, down here, down
I grew up Kojic, so I'm trying to stay next to you.
Okay, so if I could, people on this line right here, like she did, give me a shoulder. And, right. Give me a shoulder, step in.
Do we need
Step right behind you, give me your shoulder, just like that.
Just
Start
give me
right
your shoulder. There you go.
All right, come on here,
Do we need
come on
anybody
here.
on this side?
Come on in, closer. No, you have to step out, you scoot back, you good. Step a little closer though. And, no, behind him. Behind him. There you go, just like that. Okay, so, excuse me, I can't see you. I can't see you. So you
She's
might
trying to
have
hide. She's trying to hide.
Are you trying to hide? So you trying to hide?
I'm just waiting on you not
Okay,
to yell
on
and
the
tell
end.
me what to do.
On
So
the
we can
end.
make it simple.
On the end. On the end, and I need you to step, give me shoulder. And step, scoot back some, man. A little bit more, straight line, a little bit more, straight line. All right, then you get that. Now give me a shoulder, bring it in and give me a shoulder.
Which shoulder?
Face him.
Face him.
Right.
You're not asking for an arm and leg?
Okay, cool.
Just to show that.
So the parks is gonna take the photo. So he's gonna take more than one. Okay. You got them all in the shot, Javaris? Okay, you got your red dot, right?
Yep.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Gotta take 2 more. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. And I just want to move this.
Right.
Open the eyeball.
Okay. Keith, you got us too, right?
I got you on camera, yeah, so the video camera.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm going to take 3 more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Believe it or not, don't move just yet. And 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And one more, 1, 2, and well, that's a beautiful picture. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Wow.
All right. Thank you.
So
It's
One more time.
Don says it's good. Pardon. Try. So give my microphone for the young man.
Put the camera back there in the tripod rather than bring it up here.
Would you mind taking a picture of us?
Javar, you might take a photo, I'm gonna paint that stuff. Sure. With the 3 of them, so you wanna face this way? Okay, so that's good light. Okay, there we go, perfect.
Okay, and when you're done,
Oh, yeah.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Take 1 more. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do a hit to
13th of Wood Street, 1309 South Wood.
1,
Yeah, you want to
2,
do this
3.
show? Happy day.
I'm going to take 3 with this. 2.
Some of
Okay.
this.
1,
Let's say some of it. Anyway, she might do another chapter.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, no local, but let's say you
One.
can just allow it. I appreciate you. Right. Okay, done.
1, 2, 3. Or I'm actually going to take 1 more. 1, 2, 3.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, thank you, lady.
No,
You're
you're welcome. All right, don't be asking no more.
I think it's the lighting.
Okay, so that bag on top over there.
Okay, we're gonna take two here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Three. 1, 2,
Whenever I'm in a spot where Valerie is, I know I'm in the right spot.
So if you could, maybe that mic on top.
Oh, you mean
and the bag.